more accountable, honestly, than at the state legislator level, because that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's where, just during dessert now, I was answering a constituent who was getting run around medically, and I connected her to someone I knew, and he said, "I'll take care of her tomorrow." I said, "Please call her now. Please give her peace of mind now." And he said, "Okay." And I told her, "You're going to get a phone call." And then here, I'm up at the mic. That is what is incumbent upon us in office to do, on a personal level, day to day. And so when I got elected, we sold that home inspection business. And we sold an office building that we had. And we serve our constituents. I say we, Hal is integral in helping me. He protects me. And when our daughter was about ready to get married, she said, "What is it about Dad that is most special to you?" And I said, "Your father keeps me safe." And I have to say that in today's day and age, that's a really big deal. Now, today we were down at the Capitol. I guess Sarah didn't have time for me today, did she? Well, we peeked in anyway. I said, "Will, how is security going to be at tonight's event?" Because I usually have to ask that question. And he chuckled. He said, "Are you kidding me? Everybody's armed in Arkansas." I said, that's good. That's a good answer. But the press is something else I want to address. The press thinks we work for them. They're real wrong. I don't work for the press. So I represent a rural district, and if you're at all familiar with the geography of Arizona, my district goes from the lower part of Flagstaff all the way down to Tucson. It's a 5-hour drive if you were to drive from top to bottom. That's not typical, but it's my district. It's very sparsely populated, it's rural. And so when I go down to the Capitol, I have to have a house near the Phoenix Capitol, and then of course one up in our district, in Flagstaff. And when I go to the Phoenix Capitol, the reporters, they think that I'm supposed to talk to them. I don't have to talk to them. So there's this one who, if any of you follow me on Twitter, Wendy Rogers AZ, at Wendy Rogers AZ, please do follow me. I'm a bit chatty on Twitter, X. And this one reporter decided she was going to stalk me. This 24-year-old entitled woke brat decided she was going to come to my home down by the Capitol. We were moving homes, so we had an overlap of 2 homes at that moment, this past summer. Now, I kid my husband for being a geek with gadgets, and he's got this, Ring doorbell set up at both houses, and I'm thinking the Chinese are just listening to everything. So I kid, I asked him, well, I was at home in Flagstaff, he was at the Phoenix house, and he said, who is this person showing up at both of our houses? And I said, oh my gosh, that's that brat reporter that keeps stalking me at the office, and she was told to stay away from me. Long story short, I got a restraining order against her. And I put it out on Twitter. Now people told me, Wendy, you are incurring the wrath of the Phoenix Capital Times newspaper by doing that. And I go, who cares? I put it out on social media. I have people retweeting it like, cat turd. You guys know cat turd? There's the Phoenix Capital Times, and then there's cat turd. So it went 500,000 people saw her little face on my doorstep, 3 different frames, and the restraining order. So she challenged it, it went to court, and I filled the room with all my supporters. They had to have an overflow room, it was great. And then they live streamed it on TV in Phoenix, Fox 10. I mean, I don't ask for all this notoriety, I really don't. I just push back. You push me around, you push around the little 125-pound grandma, and I'm gonna push back. So I'm in the courtroom in Flagstaff, and we get this woke judge, you know. But my lawyer is this Army officer, combat veteran, winner of war crimes trials. No kidding. A triathlete, you know, and his wife's a naval officer. I mean, he's just tough. And we go through this 3-hour suit hearing. And then this judge says, well, I'm going to rescind this restraining order. And he looks at me and he says, if Senator Rogers doesn't want people coming to her house, i.e. stalking her, she should put up a no trespassing sign. And she should send a letter out ahead of time to tell people if she doesn't want that person coming to her house. So my lawyer sprang up from the table, looked at the judge, and said, glad you mentioned that. You, Miss Tootsie Pie, are never to go to Senator Rogers' house again. Didn't call her that, but you know what I mean. And then he swung around and looked at all the jackals in the press box. And the place was packed with reporters. And said, not a one of you is ever allowed to go to Senator Rogers' homes, nor are any of your colleagues. And the judge began to sputter and say, oh, well, I didn't mean, and my lawyer said, no, you said that. I want that as a matter of record right now in this courtroom and these proceedings in writing, that none of these people are to go to her home again, homes, and none of their colleagues. You could have heard a pin drop. It was great. Gateway Pundit. One of the reporters is Jordan Conradson, and he was there for this hearing, and he went out to dinner with Hal and me and this other couple who own the Trump store in Show Low, Arizona. And we 5 were out to dinner and going over the events of the hearing, and then he said, well, I gotta get rolling back down to Phoenix here before dark. It's getting dark, and you know it's a 2.5-hour drive. And he said, I have to make a stop on the way. And I said, Jordan, where are you going? He said, I'm going to stop at that judge's house.